Hey everyone, welcome back to Senior Security Benefits. I'm George, and if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss important updates like this, especially when it involves money that could be headed to your household. Today we're talking about IRS payments that are expected to begin going out starting March 5, and they're being described by many people as new stimulus payments. The reason this topic is blowing up is because social media is mixing real IRS actions with rumors, and that creates confusion fast. So in this video, I'm going to explain what these payments are, why they're being sent, who may qualify, how much you could receive, and what you should do right now to make sure you don't miss what you're owed. Let's start with the most important point. These are not random mystery checks, and they are not sign-up-here giveaways. What the IRS has been dealing with is a cleanup problem from the earlier stimulus rounds, specifically the third economic impact payment that was tied to tax year 2021. A large number of people were eligible back then, but for different reasons they never received the full amount. Some didn't file a return, some filed but accidentally left the credit line blank, some had outdated information, and in some cases the system simply didn't match up correctly. The IRS has been reviewing records and, in many situations, issuing catch-up payments to people who were entitled to money but never got it. That's what this is about: correcting missed payments, not creating a brand new program that everyone automatically receives. Now let's talk timing, because that's what everyone cares about. The start date being discussed is March 5th, and the big thing to understand is that payments don't usually hit everyone on the same day. The IRS sends money in waves. If the IRS has valid direct deposit information for you from a prior tax return, that is usually the fastest path, and many people see deposits land much sooner than mailed checks. If you are scheduled to receive a paper check, it typically takes longer because it has to be printed, processed, and delivered through the mail. So if you don't see money on March 5th, that does not automatically mean you're not eligible. It may simply mean your payment is in a later batch, or your delivery method is slow. So how much are we talking about? The number that keeps coming up, and the number you need to recognize, is up to $1,400 per eligible person. That's the same maximum amount tied to the third stimulus payment in 2021. Up to matters because not everyone qualifies for the full amount, and some people may receive a partial payment depending on income phase-outs and their specific tax situation. But for households that were missed completely, this can be meaningful. A married couple filing jointly could potentially see up to $2,800, and if qualifying dependents were also missed, it could be $1,400 per dependent as well, depending on the rules applied to your return at the time. Here's the core eligibility concept in plain English. These payments are generally aimed at people who were eligible for the 2021 stimulus but did not receive it and did not successfully claim it through the tax system. The tool that was designed to fix missing stimulus money was the recovery rebate credit on the 2021 tax return. If you didn't get your stimulus automatically, you were supposed to claim what you were owed on that return. The problem is that many people either didn't file at all, or they filed and entered zero, or left it blank even though they actually qualified. If the IRS can see from its data that you qualified but did not receive the payment, it may send the payment automatically, without you filing an amended return or calling in. That's why some people will receive money out of nowhere, because to the IRS it isn't out of nowhere, it's a correction. Now let's go over the income guidelines that applied to the third stimulus, because this is where confusion starts. For the 2021 payment rules, a single filer generally qualified for the full amount at $75,000 AGI or less, a head of household at $112,500 AGI or less, and married filing jointly at $150,000 AGI or less. Above those levels, payments phased out, and then stopped completely at higher thresholds. This is why two people can both hear up to $1,400, but only one receives the full amount. The IRS is not guessing, it's using the returns and data it has on file to determine what you should have received under the law at the time. Now I want to address a group that's especially important on this channel. People who did not file taxes because they thought they didn't have to. If you didn't file in 2020 or 2021 because your income was low, or because you were on Social Security retirement, SSDI, SSI, or railroad retirement, you may still be eligible. In past stimulus rounds, many beneficiaries who didn't normally file returns still received payments because the government used benefit records to issue them. However, it depends on whether the IRS has enough information to confirm eligibility and deliver the payment correctly. If you're not a regular tax filer and you're not receiving a federal benefit that puts you in the IRS data flow, the IRS may not be able to identify you automatically. In that case, the only way to claim what you're owed is to file the correct return and claim the credit. That brings us to the most critical deadline in this entire conversation. If you never filed your 2021 tax return and you need to claim the recovery rebate credit, the window to file and still claim refunds is not unlimited. Many people are working with an April 15, 2025 deadline to file the 2021 return and claim what they're owed. If you think you might qualify and you never filed 2021, do not put this off. You can use IRS Free File if you qualify, you can use a reputable preparer, or you can seek free help through programs like VITA. The point is, if filing is required in your situation, filing is what unlocks the money. A common question is whether these payments are taxable. In general, stimulus-style payments structured as tax credits have not been treated as taxable income, meaning you don't pay federal income tax on them and you don't report them as taxable wages. Still, always keep your IRS notices and verify how the payment is labeled in your IRS account so you and your tax preparer can document it correctly. Another major question is whether receiving the payment affects other benefits such as SNAP, Medicaid, housing assistance, or SSI. Historically, stimulus payments were not counted as income for many federal benefit programs, and were also protected from being counted as a resource for a period of time, often 12 months. But programs can have different rules and state administration can vary. So if you receive needs-based benefits, it's smart to save the documentation and ask your local caseworker how your program treats it over time. Now, how do you check the status safely? The safest method is to use official IRS tools, not social media screenshots and not links someone texts you. You can start at irs.gov and use your IRS online account to view your tax records and notices. Depending on the type of payment, you may also see information through standard IRS tracking tools. But the key is this: only use official websites and type the web address yourself. If a site or a message asks you to confirm your bank details to release the stimulus, treat that as a red flag and stop. The IRS does not demand gift cards, wire transfers, crypto, or processing fees to release a payment. Let me spend a minute on scams because scammers love moments like this. When people are expecting money, criminals know they're more likely to click, panic, or overshare. The IRS will not call you threatening arrest. The IRS will not text you asking for your social security number, and the IRS will not email you a link demanding you verify your direct deposit to receive a stimulus payment. If you get any message like that, delete it. If you want to verify something, go directly to irs.gov or call the IRS using the number listed on the official website. Protecting your identity is part of protecting your benefits. Next, what if you moved or changed banks? Address changes matter because paper checks and IRS letters go to the last address the IRS has on file. If you moved, you can update your address with the IRS, including by filing Form 8822, or by filing a new tax return with the correct address if you're required to file. Bank changes are harder because the IRS generally uses the bank information from a filed return. If the IRS sends a direct deposit to a closed account, the bank typically rejects it and sends it back, and then the IRS often reissues it as a paper check to the address it has on file. That can create delays, so if you know your old account is closed and your address is outdated, update what you can now rather than waiting for a problem. There are also special situations people ask about all the time. Veterans can qualify the same as anyone else as long as they meet the eligibility rules and income requirements. And VA benefits are handled differently than taxable wages in many contexts. College students and young adults should pay attention to dependency status. If someone claimed you as a dependent for 2021, you typically would not receive your own separate payment, but the person who claimed you might have been eligible for an additional amount for you. Immigration status can also matter because many of these payments require a valid Social Security number. If you're unsure, consult a qualified tax professional rather than guessing. And if you're dealing with the death of a loved one, I'm sorry for your loss. Rules around payments for deceased individuals have varied by program and timing, so if you receive a payment you believe is not allowed, confirm the current guidance on irs.gov or with a tax professional before taking action. If you do receive money, what should you do with it? For a lot of families, the most responsible use is also the simplest. Catch up on bills, keep the lights on, buy groceries, refill prescriptions, or fix the car that gets you to work. If you have high-interest credit card debt, paying even part of it down can reduce interest costs that keep dragging you back. If you don't have an emergency cushion, setting aside a few $100s can prevent the next unexpected expense from turning into a crisis. And if you're already stable, you might consider saving it, contributing to retirement, or using it to reduce debt. The goal isn't perfection. It's to use the money in a way that reduces stress and improves stability. This whole situation is also a reminder of something I say constantly. Even if you think you don't owe taxes, filing matters because it's often how the system recognizes you and issues credits you qualify for. Many people missed stimulus money simply because they didn't file or didn't claim a credit they were entitled to. The good news is that there are free tools and free help available for many taxpayers, including IRS Free File and VITA sites. If you're unsure whether you need to file to get this money, get advice from a reputable source, and don't wait until the last minute. Let me summarize everything clearly. Payments tied to missed 2021 stimulus amounts are expected to start going out around March 5, and they may continue in batches. The maximum amount discussed is up to $1,400 per eligible person, with higher totals possible for married couples and families depending on how the original eligibility applied. Many recipients won't need to do anything if the IRS already has enough information and identifies them as missed. But if you did not file a 2021 return and the IRS does not have the data needed to issue your payment, you may need to file and claim the recovery rebate credit before the deadline window closes. The payments are generally not treated as taxable income, and they have typically not counted against eligibility for many benefit programs right away, though program rules vary. You can verify safely through irs.gov, and you should ignore anyone asking for personal information, fees, or gift cards. If this video helped you, share it with someone who might be eligible, especially seniors, disabled family members, or anyone who hasn't filed in years and assumes they don't qualify for anything. And drop a comment. Are you expecting a payment? Have you received one already? Or are you not sure whether you filed 2021? I'll read the comments and I'll make follow-up videos to cover the most common situations. Subscribe to Senior Security Benefits if you want more step-by-step guidance on Social Security, Medicare, and the IRS issues that hit retirees and working families the hardest. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.